Hey, what's up broskies? It's Sona. Welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a fantastic day. So I actually want to talk about something that I haven't really discussed on this channel before, since I wasn't a commentary YouTuber back then. But either way, regardless, I'm sure majority of you watching this video will know what I'm talking about because I'm going to be talking about the Roblox Egg Hunt. Every year for quite a long time now, Roblox has hosted this really big event called Egg Hunt. Normally this big event takes place in one game, or several games now, where Roblox players can do a bunch of missions or challenges to collect eggs. You solve mysteries, you solve puzzles, you can do tasks. There's basically all kinds of stuff that you can do to get the eggs, with there being several eggs that you can get. Each egg has a different theme and mission, and in general, it's a really fun event. A lot of people have loved it for many years. And the last egg hunt that happened was in 2020, which a lot of people really didn't like, but we'll get into that later. So anyways, let's just get into the meat and potatoes of the situation and why I'm making this video to begin with. For a while, I think a lot of people thought that there wasn't gonna be another egg hunt and it was canceled or something, but no, that's wrong, because there actually is gonna be another egg hunt. So like around a week ago on the Roblox dev forum, it was announced that there is definitely going to be another egg hunt in 2021, which is next year, which is pretty cool and dandy because a lot of people weren't expecting for there to be another one, but there is. So you'd think a lot of people would be happy about this news, but a lot of people are actually really upset at this news. So this post isn't just being made to confirm that, you know, there's going to be another egg hunt. It's also being made as a survey for developers to submit their games to possibly have a chance of being in the egg hunt. So if you didn't know, with classic egg hunts, they all usually take place in like one particular game. But for like the past 2 years, Roblox recently made a change to the egg hunts. So for 2019 and 2020, Roblox decided, hey, you know what? Instead of having this event take place in one particular game, let's make it spread across a bunch of different games on Roblox that already exist. And yeah, a lot of people really didn't like that. Like, they straight up hated it. And we're gonna get into why that is in a second. So yeah, the way they're doing this is a lot different from the classic egg hunt, and despite receiving really bad reception for the last 2 times they did this, they decided to do it again, which isn't really surprising considering whenever people really hate something, Roblox doesn't listen and they just do whatever, instead of listening to what people actually want. So this doesn't exactly surprise me. So when Roblox decides to have an egg hunt take place in multiple games through the platform instead of just one specific game made for the event, people actually like to give a certain term for it. They call it a quote-unquote dev hunt instead of an egg hunt. So in this video, I am going to be calling these type of egg hunts a dev hunt, just so that people don't mix the two up. And one of the main things that I'm going to be talking about is explaining why people really hate dev hunts, and basically just going over the flaws of dev hunts, as well as possibly give ways to help improve them. Alright, so let's talk about why Roblox wants to do this in the first place. Judging by what I said in this post, it's pretty clear that one of the main reasons why Roblox wants to do this is to help developers promote their games and get new players. As it literally states right here, we want to build more events like this so we can drive new players to your game through marketing efforts pushed across the Roblox platform. So it's pretty clear what their main intention with this is. And obviously the game developers of Roblox are the people who basically make Roblox what it is. Without all of these game developers coming to Roblox and deciding to put their creations onto the platform, Roblox would be dead. So needless to say, game developers are very important, and I think it's really cool that Roblox is trying to promote them and push their games out there, but this just really isn't the way to go about it. Because I mean, let's be real here. When people go to games to get the eggs, they want the eggs. That's all they care about. The only reason they want to go into that game is to get that egg and leave. And I can guarantee you that majority of people who go to these games to get these eggs don't even revisit them, unless it's already a really popular game. It also even leaves some people disliking the games when they leave because of how hard it is to even get the egg. In general, it's just a really short-term thing, and even if it does help them get players at the time, that's only specifically because of the event. It doesn't really help them in the long term with their game. So like I said, it's cool that Roblox wants to help these developers give their game a boost and whatever and get more players, but again, it's just really not the way to go about it. And considering this has happened for 2 years in a row now, and people absolutely hated it, I don't think it's really right for Roblox to be doing this for a 3rd time when people clearly don't want it to happen. And now I'm gonna explain the main reasons why people really don't like these dev hunts, and in general, the many flaws of them. So in really old egg hunts, it was pretty simple. For the first few egg hunts, eggs actually fell from the sky and you would collect them. And then a few years down the road, Roblox eventually made it so that in a specific game, there would be hidden eggs and you would have to find them, which is, again, pretty simple. And then the first quote-unquote dev hunt that actually happened was in 2015, which was said to be the worst Roblox egg hunt to ever happen at that time. But for that egg hunt, there was only 3 Roblox games that you needed to go to. But in general, there was nothing really special about it, and it didn't really feel like an egg hunt to a lot of people. Then for the next egg hunts after that, Roblox decided to go back to the classic way of there just being one game where you find the eggs in, which is what people actually wanted. And then the 2018 egg hunt came, which is said to be one of the best egg hunts to ever happen. And unlike other egg hunts, this egg hunt had a whole storyline to go with it. You could interact with characters. The gameplay was really fun with a bunch of new game physics. All the maps in the game looked really beautiful and amazing. And characters usually gave you quests to find the eggs. And it was really just one giant game where you literally just went on a giant adventure to find the eggs, and it was just really amazing. There was a whole story to go with it and everything, and the Roblox community loved it. So it really had people looking forward to Egg Hunt 2019, and that's where Egg Hunt started to flop. Egg Hunt 2019 was much different from any of them for a lot of really not so pleasant reasons. So first, let's talk about the amount of games that you actually have to go to get these eggs. So in the 2015 Dev Hunt, there was 3 Roblox games that you had to go to get the eggs. And as I said, people really didn't like that. They would rather just have one specific game where the event would be held. But if you thought that was bad, the 2019 Egg Hunt had over 40 eggs, meaning you had to go to 40 different games. Like, bro, what? 40 games? Listen, okay, I don't know about you guys, but that sounds like way too many games to visit just for some eggs. I mean, yeah, like, if you had to go to 10 games or something, that wouldn't be a super lot, but 40? Oh yeah, in 2020 it had like 50, I think, so that's literally worse. Okay, so let's talk about why there's so many things wrong with this. First off, let's be honest, no one wants to go to 50 different games to get the eggs. Like, no one wants to do that. Like, imagine you're ready to go to the egg hunt and then you see that you have to go to like 50 different games. That seems pretty overwhelming. Not to mention, having that many games for one specific event that you have to go to is severely unorganized. Like, yeah, sure, in 2019 you had the lobby to teleport you to each individual game, but they didn't even have a lobby to do that in 2020. All the games were just scattered everywhere and you had to find them. And even with a lobby, it's still incredibly unorganized. That's just way too many games for one single event. Now let's talk about the experience that people had in these games. You'd think that since there's so many games that you have to go to get the eggs, you'd think that at least it wouldn't take a super long time to get each egg, and that the gameplay to get the egg would be fun and fair to do. But instead of being fun, it's more like a chore. Since this event was spread through so many different Roblox games on the platform, each game was obviously very different from each other and had very different gameplay. And a lot of the games people hadn't even played before. So literally when you go to these games to get the eggs, first you have to learn how to even play the game and how it works, which for a lot of games takes a while on its own, for 50 different games. In order to get these eggs, you gotta learn how to play all of these games. They're all completely different, they have completely different gameplay, and then after you finally learn how to play all these games and get used to them, you gotta worry about actually doing the mission to get the egg. And a lot of the missions are also very time consuming, even though like learning how to play the games to begin with was already time consuming enough. For example, one of the games that you had to play to get an egg was Dragon Rage, and it was actually very frustrating to play, and I did not enjoy it whatsoever. You basically had to wait for these dragons to swoop down and try to get the egg from their tail, and it literally felt impossible. It was way too hard. And it also didn't help that each round also just lasted way too long. And I'm gonna tell you right now, in that game, I was trying to get the egg for a good 2 hours. And after that experience, I can definitely say that I don't want to go back to that game. And a lot of people feel the same way. Another really frustrating game that you had to play that was in the Egg Hunt was Enchanted Forest. This game was extremely complicated. It was basically a game with a lot of puzzles and stuff. And normally you'd think that would be fun, but it was way too complex and it was just extremely confusing. And it lasted way too long. There was so many puzzles that took a long time to do, and there was just way too many of them. It was pretty clear to me that it was supposed to be a long-lasting game, but it definitely didn't belong in Egg Hunt, and I just spent so many hours in that game, and in the end, I didn't even get the egg because it was that hard. I definitely am not saying that this is a bad game in any way. I just personally think it's too complex for Egg Hunt, considering a lot of the people who participate in this event are obviously kids, and if my 19-year-old brain, which is the size of a peanut by the way, can't do this without having to look up a YouTube tutorial because it's so complex, I think the same would go for a lot of kids on Roblox. Roblox, and considering how many games you have to go to for Egg Hunt, I think the mission for this game lasts way too long, as many of them do. Another example of this was Epic Mini Games, because you literally had to wait until one specific map was played in order to even have a chance at getting the egg. I'm sure that developers work hard on these, but in the end, I guess what I'm trying to say is these games are amazing on their own, probably, but not in Egg Hunt.
Just my opinion, don't kill me.
And I could honestly give you so many more examples, but in general, there was just so many games that were just way too difficult and just way too time consuming to be in an Egg Hunt. And for a lot of people, a lot of the games that were chosen for the event weren't even fun. For a lot of them, you literally just had to sit and wait for something to happen, hoping that you would get the egg. There were very few games that I actually enjoyed, one of them being Death Run. I thought the gameplay was very fun, and it really wasn't that hard. I thought Super Bomb Survival was also very good. But in the end, in this event, the good games were really just outweighed by the bad games, and it was really just a huge mess for a lot of it. There were also games that had a lot of glitches and bugs that made it really hard to play, sometimes even unplayable. For example, the game Hacker, it had a lot of bugs, and I actually remember playing that one, and that one was also very time consuming, and it was glitchy, and I did end up getting the egg, but it still took way too long. The one thing that I'm most upset about was the fact that I wasn't able to get the Thanos egg. Like, the reason I didn't get the Thanos egg wasn't even because the gameplay is too hard or whatever. I just literally wasn't able to because I ran out of time, because I spent so many hours trying to get other eggs that I just literally was barely able to get even half of them. So yeah, even though the dev hunts have a lot of flaws in them, I don't think the entire idea of a dev hunt itself is terrible. I just think they should really execute it better, and there is stuff that they can do to improve it to make it so that a dev hunt wouldn't be so bad. One thing that I really think Roblox should take into consideration is giving developers more time. A lot of people have said that they actually think the egg hunts for these past 2 years have been rushed, and there have actually been developers who have come out about this and admit that they were rushed in this process and they just didn't have enough time to do their best for the egg hunt event, seeing that they've literally started months prior to the event actually happening and still have not had enough time. And obviously, when you're rushed on something, you are not able to present your best work because you were being rushed and you simply just weren't given enough time. And it's pretty clear to see that that's one of the problems here. If Roblox was willing to give these developers more time to work on these projects, I think that dev hunts would definitely be better and it would for sure improve them. But considering the fact that the other times developers began developing on this project like months before the year even ended, I'm not really sure how promising this is looking, considering the fact that this post asking developers to submit their games to possibly be chosen is literally being made like in very late December, and the survey will end in mid-January. So I'm not really sure how much time they're going to be giving them to work on this, but hopefully it's enough this time, but you know, who knows. Another thing that I want to talk about that could possibly improve the game actually wasn't fully my idea. I actually saw the suggestion from someone in a Twitter thread, but one idea that they brought up is that they think it would be a good idea to actually let the player base of Roblox also have a say in what games get picked for the dev hunt if there is a dev hunt, which I agree with, and there's many ways that Roblox could go about this, but I think one of the best ways to execute this would be to take the best submissions that they got from the survey that when developers submitted their games to possibly be chosen, and then, you know, maybe present some of those games to the public and ask people what they personally want, which games they would want the most, which games they think would be the best for the event, you know, because I noticed that a lot of the games chosen, a lot of people again didn't really like. For the last 2 years, they really didn't like a lot of the games chosen, so maybe it would help solve that a little bit if they let people choose at least some of the games or something, or have some type of say in it, because it really seems like Roblox isn't listening to what their player base actually wants, you know, because if you're doing this whole egg hunt for the Roblox community in general, I think they should have some type of say in it. I mean, it makes sense. Another thing that I really want to talk about is the amount of games that are in these events. 40 to 50 games is just way too much to go to. It's overwhelming for the player, and it's really disorganized, and it's just way too much in general. Like, yes, being able to get 50 eggs would be awesome, but considering how time consuming and frustrating all the missions are to get the eggs, I don't really think it's worth it. So in the end, I really think it would just be better if they made it so that there weren't so many games that you had to go to. And I also think that they should instead of extending the amount of games they give, I think they should extend the amount of time that they give you, because let's be honest, 3 weeks is not enough time to get all of these eggs. I think at the very least, people should be given like, you know, at least a month to do all of this because it's just a lot. And even if Roblox still wants to include a bunch of games in the egg hunt, I think at the very least, they should seriously make it so that the eggs don't take so long to get, because it's just way too time consuming for that many eggs. Honestly, there's probably so much more that I could say to help improve dev hunts, and I may be missing some things, but honestly, that's all I can think of right now, guys. I just really think the things that I mentioned would definitely help the dev hunts, at least improve them a little bit or a lot, who knows. But even though there is things that they could do to improve it, I still think in the end, the classic egg hunts still worked the best. I just really think it's best for this kind of event to be held in one game, especially if there's so many eggs that you have to collect. Like bro, I really just don't feel like switching to 50 different games constantly. Like please Roblox, give us a break already. And even though I had a lot of critiques to say in this video about the dev hunts, I don't think they're terrible. There's definitely fun stuff about them in my opinion. I enjoyed some of it. Not every single challenge was super hard, and I will admit there actually was some pretty fun games that were in the event. I just really think this whole thing could be executed better. And you know, sometimes I wish Roblox would actually listen to us and not ignore everything that we say. But either way, I still love Roblox. I still think Egg Hunt is really cool. I just hope they can do better this time. Because again, I can see that their intentions is to help developers boost their games and get more players, but it's definitely not long term. They get more players for like during the time of the Egg Hunt, and then after that, their game just flops again, which is probably really discouraging for them and very heartbreaking to see your game doing so well and then it's like okay, maybe that was a weird example, but anyways, let me know what you guys think of the points I made in this video. Let me know if you agree with me. Let me know if you disagree with me and you hate me. No, seriously though, if you disagree with me, I completely get that. All of this is just my opinion and how I feel about it personally. So if you have different views, be sure to let me know in the comments, or if you have anything to add on to this, also be sure to let me know that in the comments as well. Oh yeah, Merry late Christmas, because I'm uploading this after Christmas. And with that, I'll see all you broskies in the next video. Bye!